Welcome, Spurs fans, to the first video edition of Casa De Spurs. Technically, this is episode 34, first video. Doing this one for Antonio McDyess, everyone's favorite 34 that's ever played basketball in the league. Can't think of any other notable 34s to ever even put on a basketball jersey. So, yeah, let's get going through this. We've got Dan on the show today. Dan is our longtime producer, editor, head of Spurs Dynasty. Yeah. And, of course, the lovely Stephen Hale.
It's me.
Staying safe and staying at home with his...
Practice social distancing.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of this. What's up, guys?
I heard it doesn't work if you have a beard under it anyway. So
yeah, it really doesn't. That's one of the hardest things is between the beard and the mullet face mask. It's not really in my... it's not really convenient, but hey.
Yeah, I don't really... Anyway, I've been unmasked. I can't grow a beard for Twitter. But...
Is that it? Is that as good as it gets in 2 months?
No, it looked a lot worse before I decided to get it out of there yesterday. But hey, anyway, if you guys are cool with talking about basketball, I'm gonna move over to that instead of my inability to grow facial hair. It's been like what, 2.5 months, 2 months since basketball has been played.
Seems like forever.
There's talks of the season coming back at some point in July, whether it's playoffs only or some sort of run up to the playoffs. If you're looking at this through the lens of a Spurs fan or, you know, someone who cares about the Spurs, what's the point? Like, what do you, Steven, you go first. Like, what do you think? Like, do you care? If basketball comes back, one, are you going to watch? Two, like, does it mean anything to you from the Spurs point of view?
Yeah, this is such a love and hate relationship with this season, like all through. I mean, I don't think I've ever complained more as a Spurs fan than I have like with the season. And of course, like living on Twitter like I do, it's just a circus everywhere we go. I mean, think about it, like the Spurs sit at 27-36 when the season ended. They're in 12th place in the West. I mean, as a Spurs fan, like, yeah, you want to see your team play basketball usually, but I kind of got sick of it this year. Like, they were so bad. And the problem is like, we're not seeing basketball that's, you know, from the Spurs that's like, oh yeah, let's just develop guys. So we're getting like a legitimate glimpse of like our future prospects. Mostly what the Spurs have been trying to do is like limp into the playoffs on the backs of Rudy Gay and LaMarcus Aldridge and, you know, even like more Bryn Forbes. Like, is that the kind of stuff that we really want to see? Like, I don't know. For the league, you know, for the purpose of the league, like, it's important because the more basketball games that are played, even just from television advertising, that's going to determine the cap that's at stake, and it's going to determine so much of the basketball revenue impact. You know, BRI, Bobby Marks talked a lot about that. So yes, as an NBA fan, we want to see basketball again, and I'll watch whatever product is put out on the court because I'm a junkie like that. But I haven't been like terribly torn apart about no Spurs basketball in a long roundabout way. I'm kind of on Steve Kerr's side, who's like, our season is over, like for the Warriors. Like, we're thinking towards next year. I'm kind of like that. Like, what's the point in bringing them back and, you know, having a mini camp that's going to be 3 or 4 weeks only to play 8 games and miss the playoffs? Like, what's the point of that?
They've played 63 games, which, you know, is longer than any other lockout season I could think of. Not like if you want to like maybe compare it to a season in the past. And yeah, so like if they were to try to get to full 82, I don't know where other teams are, but the Spurs had to play 19 more games. The Spurs aren't going to climb out of 12th place into the playoffs in 19 games
after a 2-month layover.
Yeah, and so Dan, but like if there was going to be some sort of season, which I have a hard time imagining it, but everyone seems optimistic about it. Like, what do you want to see from San Antonio in whatever mini season that we get?
I don't think there's any point in playing more games, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, like Steven already said, I'm not interested in seeing, you know, DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus and Bryn Forbes, the major minutes guys. You know, it's just, it's sad and it's depressing. I think we need we don't need any more sadness right now.
Yeah.
And that '99 lockout season where the Spurs won their first title, they played 50 games, which it didn't seem like it was that short, but it was 50 games. And then they had the regular length playoffs. I don't think that makes any sense now either to do like a regular, best of 7 series. I mean, which is practically a whole other season.
But even if they come back, whoever wins, it's going to have an asterisk. Like no one's there. It's always going to be if the Lakers come back and win right now, like do we get to compare that title to? I know we're going to talk about the Last Dance here in a second, but we get to add another title to LeBron's resume that says, oh yeah, he's one step closer to Jordan, because he won a title in the year of coronavirus, or for the new breed, like say the Bucks come out and win it now. Like, does that mean that Giannis is now he's on his way? God forbid if the stupid freaking Houston Rockets won an NBA championship out of this coronavirus thing, we'd never hear the end of that crap. I don't want that to happen. But
how can you discount it though? I mean, especially if we hear it all the time as fans of a franchise that won their first title in a lockout season. Shaq the other day was on national TV or Twitter or something saying that it didn't count, when he knows probably damn well that if the Lakers had won that Western Conference Finals,
he would have rocked it.
They would have.
Absolutely.
It's hypocritical, I think, of anybody to say I don't count this title because of the circumstances of the world or around it. I mean, if the Bucks win it, which they probably should, then I think I don't know how you could discount that. They've been the best team this entire season, so having to lose 19 games or whatever and then still go through the playoffs, I just don't understand how you do a playoffs.
Yeah, right. And exactly. I mean, are you going to have as many games played, or are you going to have best of 7 series, and you're going to have the teams playing in empty stadiums?
Oh yeah,
all in Las Vegas.
They'll definitely,
or Orlando or something. Yeah.
But I think it's like this though. How do you make it interesting? Okay, so you have your teams that are locks, right? If you ended it, you could definitely lock in probably your top 4 teams in each conference. Maybe then what you do is you have like a play-in tournament to make it interesting for teams that are, in the 7 to 10 spot. Like say they just play, or maybe it's the 7 to 10 spot. So 7 and 8 are going to be locked, and then 9 and 10, you're gonna try and play that. The Spurs would still not even be in that playoff. That's the funny part. But it would make it most interesting to the league is if you just kind of said like, okay, 1 through 6 is locked in, but we're going to have a little play-in tournament for the 7 to 10 seeds. And I think that the NBA, from a financial standpoint, again, even by having a 7-game series at a place like Orlando, which I'm on board for the Orlando thing. I think that setup works out well. But I just think the hiccup for it is that it's gonna put too much at risk. If Giannis just comes down with, test positive for this, even if he's asymptomatic, so now they're not going to let Giannis play for 2 weeks, and the Bucks' amazing season that just happened, he's got to go sit in quarantine. And I think that's the ugly part, is just going like, I want to see basketball, fans want to see basketball, but are you risking damaging your product just for the sake of rushing through a champion? I'm torn on it because I want to see, but I'm also for the quality of the game, I think you just kind of have to bite the bullet. The problem is that's going to really mess up salary cap implications for the following year. If you just punt 60 games through the season, you're we don't even declare a champion. I wrote out this thing on Twitter the other day about what that means, for teams like the Spurs. They're going to be a luxury tax team, like that. They're going to be crushed, and they're not the only team that's like that. I mean, there's only 4 teams that were going to have cap space this year, anyways. So you look at a guy like DeMar DeRozan. If the Spurs don't come back, if basketball doesn't come back, and that means that the salary cap dips to $90 million, DeMar DeRozan would be a fool to not opt in. He's not going to make $27 million again down the road. And that means that the Spurs are definitely going to have him on the books, and they're going to have a lot. They're going to have a payroll that's $120+ million, and it's all going to come out of 5 guys. It's $85 million of that they're going to play. So what do teams do in general about when you have guys that are do you sit a guy who's being paid $25 million a year and just be like, well, we're paying the luxury tax anyways, might as well just play the young. Like it's just a disaster scenario, and I don't really know what the right answer is for it.
I don't think anybody does. It's too hard. It's too hard to tell even what the world's going to look like a month from now. And like, none of us are really health experts that I'm aware of. So I don't know, like, if we have the answers to that, but Dan's looking like he might. I don't know.
I did just start taking a contact tracing course online yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, I really did. Well, we got about 10 minutes left, guys. We could spend the next 10 minutes just talking about speculating what the playoffs might look like. But I would like to talk about The Last Dance and Camo, which is a pressing subject here for Trace.
No, they're both very, very important. Last Dance, I have to be completely honest with you guys. I haven't watched a single episode of it.
Wow.
I might get around to it. Have all the episodes like finished airing? Maybe I'll like binge it.
Not all of them.
There's two more tonight that are taking place.
I don't know. Jordan feel like I know that I was alive through Jordan's run of championships, but to me basketball didn't really take off as something that was super important to me until maybe like a year or two before Tim Duncan was drafted by San Antonio. I wasn't a basketball kid until right around the time when MJ's career was dwindling, I guess. And I get it, he's good. I'm more interested in watching this documentary to see Dennis Rodman than anything else. That's kind of that's where I'm at on it.
Those have been the hidden gems of this documentary. Jordan had those documentaries in the 90s. It was like, what was it, like The Air Up There and Come Fly With Me and that kind of stuff. Like he did these like little documentaries in like the early 90s, I think in his first retirement. And I remember having them on VHS tape. Like, this is not a Bulls documentary. It's kind of hogwash. It's definitely a Jordan documentary. And it's definitely like no. Everybody started to hate Jordan. Trust us. He's a good guy. Like, it's definitely a documentary that's designed to paint him about that. But I saw that a few things that stood out about it was, first off, Scottie Pippen is severely underpaid. Back in those days, the salary cap, he had like a 7-year, $21 million contract. That the ownership knew was a bad deal for him and signed anyway. I mean, I watched it with with one of my buddies who's a Warriors fan, and I was saying, you know what, that's not the kind of thing that the Spurs would have done. The Spurs wouldn't have screwed somebody like that, knowing that they were screwing him. And also knowing that, like, I don't blame the guy for kind of like, I mean, he had some times where he definitely pouted and whatever, but I don't blame him for wanting to sit out through some of that kind of stuff or hold out for contract. Like, the guy won like 5 titles. You can't renegotiate this guy's contract. Like, he's okay. So there's Jordan, right? Who's number 1. You could argue that Scottie was the second best player in the league easily. And to be paid peanuts like he was is pretty nuts. So there's some good gems in that. The Dennis Rodman stuff is wild. I mean, the guy just took like a random vacation and went to Vegas and went on a binger for like 5 days. So there's little Easter eggs in there. Like, it's worth watching. I don't know if you come out of it and you're any more of a Jordan fan. Like, I'm Jordan over LeBron. That's always the big talk. So I'm definitely going to, it's not changing my mind at all, but the first couple of episodes were like, oh yeah, this is about the Bulls. And then now, like, by episode 4, you're like, no, this is definitely about Jordan again.
Yeah.
This is just that was my takeaway too. I was disappointed. I really wanted to see something particularly about that season, about that 6th ring that they won. And it ends up not really being so much about that season as it is about Jordan, not even about the Bulls, I mean, there's a little bit of background about the ownership, and I don't think they come across too well.
I don't know that there's anything that we're learning about Jordan that we didn't already know. Like, maybe a story here and there, but we know the guy was a bad teammate and he was a jerk, and we know he was a compulsive gambler. It's like, I want to know about the Bulls. Why did you break up that team?
Right. Yeah. I mean, because they probably could have won more titles. And, I wanted to know more about why, because there was a lot of rumors swirling around about why Jordan sat out those 2 seasons. I mean, he supposedly retired to went off to go play baseball, but the rumors are that it was because he was going to get busted for gambling, right?
Yeah, there was this conspiracy that David Stern was basically giving him like an under the table like handshake, like I'm going to suspend you for 18 months and then you can come back. But I don't buy that rumor because the NBA was really just coming into its own, and it was really becoming like, because of the dream team, it was coming like onto this global stage. We all know like that dream team 92 team in Barcelona, like that's how we got Yao Ming, right? Like that's how we got Stephon Marbury playing in China. Like that is because of that dream team. And so I don't buy that David Stern, who I'll say it, wasn't that great of a commissioner. He was a moneymaker, right? He's just gonna take 18 months and just like, yeah, I'm gonna suspend the best player in the world and the largest sports figure at that time in the world. I don't buy that rumor.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I do either. But I would have liked to have seen more explanation
I'd like it confirmed.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got a little over 5 minutes left, guys. Is that enough time to go into camo gear?
So here's how it's gonna go down. I've ranked these already. I'm gonna walk you through my rank. There's only 4, so it's not like a crazy thing. I've ranked them. I want to know if you guys agree with me on my definitive Spurs camo jersey rankings. So I'm gonna share.
I'm not gonna Parker jersey today because hey, it's his birthday and I've always been a Tony guy. So
yeah, Tony, happy birthday, Tony.
Happy birthday, Tony. Anyway.
You're the host now, Trace. So share those camo jerseys.
All right, so here we go. Okay.
Woof.
Yeah, number 4. Coming in at number 4. I think this is the inaugural camo jersey.
Yikes. Those are bad.
Desert camo with the black.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the silver, what really puts this one in last place for me is the silver lining around the neck and the arm. It really doesn't go with the rest of the jersey. Not that anything goes, but
you would be able to hide in the desert though with that. It's like truly camouflage.
You wouldn't be able to hide in the desert. It was like, is that a guy? I can see the trim around his shirt.
Is he doing a layup in the desert for some reason?
Why is he?
So that's number 4. Number 3. Yeah, put a sleeve on it. Why not, right? Put a sleeve on it, add another black stripe.
Look, man, that's number 1. I don't know what to tell you. That's
of all of them, that's the one I'd be most likely to wear into a battle, into a gunfight.
And that's why they made it, is for guys like you, Dan. They're like, you know what? There's a guy out there who's not buying this jersey. It's because it doesn't have sleeves. Put sleeves on it and sell those things, man.
Yep.
I'm not gonna jinx anything, so I have nothing further to say on this jersey right now. But maybe we'll be able to talk next week.
Oof.
Coming in at number 2, the silver medalist camo jersey is the Arctic camo, I believe they call this one. San Antonio, known for its polar military operations. Yeah. So this one
super cold in San Antonio.
Well, it's appropriate that Frost is the sponsor.
Yeah, that's a nice touch, actually.
That's a good point. I was saying to Trace earlier, this reminds me of the movie Inception, whenever they go like 3 layers deep into the dream, and they're in the Arctic section, and they're all wearing those white. Like, yeah, just in case the Spurs ever get in.
For some reason.
And I love the fact that Frost thinks so much of themselves as a regional bank that they don't have to put bank. They can just put Frost and let the rest of the NBA look at it and wonder what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like, you guys get it. It's Frost.
Nobody has. I've talked. So many friends have just been like, "What is this Frost thing?" And I'm like, "Come on, dude.
It's for our uniform.
You don't bank in San Antonio.
It's on-demand high-tech ice."
That's right. So that leads me to number 1, of course, which is the black, the classic black camo. This if you've been hanging out in tar pits for some reason, you will never be spotted.
That's technically like the blue camo, and I know that because we wore that same camo in the United States Navy. I was in for 8 years and had that, and it's like, God forbid you ever fall off a ship in a blue ocean. Like, yeah, there he is.
You're dead.
Him. Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, who thought of that? Anyways, so naturally we put it on a Spurs uniform.
It makes it harder. It makes it harder for the Sharks to spot you.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, like,
that's a good point, man. So, comments? Did I nail it? Is that
yeah, but the worst one's the sleeves, man. There's no, like, I'm against sleeve jerseys in general. Like, I think it always, like, even I have these vivid memories of LeBron always being like,
yeah, he complained a lot when he said I remember reading some interview and he was like, I don't know, man, it might mess with my shooting form. And I was like, well, okay, but like, I understand that you're not happy, but I don't know if I believe that.
Shooting 28% from the 3-point line, like,
yeah,
it's not the jersey.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
hey guys, I think that's it, man. We're wrapping it up. That's our first.
Yeah. So thanks
Casa de
everyone.
Spurs.
This is our first video edition of Casa de Spurs. Hope you liked it. We're gonna try to do more of this in the future. We're gonna try to get better at it. But for Dan, for Steven, I'm Trace. Remember to follow us on Twitter, at Casa de Spurs, and we'll see you all soon.
Go Spurs, go!
Go Spurs, go!